Okay, so today we're actually going to talk about how to multiply binomials. Yesterday we talked about adding and subtracting them. Today is multiplying. So I can multiply binomials is going to be our I can statement. So multiplying binomials, it's a little tricky. This is a pretty foundational piece of all of algebra, and you'll use this all throughout high school as well. So here's how you multiply binomials. You can multiply binomials by using something called FOIL. So when you hear the word, when you FOIL something, this is what a lot of people in high school, or a lot of students in high school talk about when they talk about the word FOIL. So what is the FOIL method? To multiply two binomials using the FOIL method, find the sum, right, of the products of the, so here's what you do. So let's say I'm trying to figure out, I have two binomials. I have x plus 1 times x plus 2, and I'm multiplying them out. So here's what you do. You multiply your first terms together. So I'll do this in red so you see my first terms, right? In each of my binomials, my first term is x. So I do x times x, and you get x squared. Next one, first outer, so I take a look at my outer terms. If I want to see my outer terms, you take a look at my outer terms, right? Because these are on the outside of the binomial, right? So I multiply the outside terms. So I have x times 2, which is 2x. Next one, inner. So if my outside terms were x and 2, my inside terms are going to be the ones that are inside. 1 times x, which is just x. And last but not least, my last term. So my first terms were x and x. Now I take a look at my last terms, my 1 and 2. Okay, so I multiply those. So 1 times 2, you get 2. So now what you do with all of these numbers here is you add them up. So I get, let's see, I'll use, color haven't I used? Oh, I'll use that. So if I were to add all of these up, you get x squared plus 2x plus x plus 2. You get x squared plus 3x plus 2 as your binomial that you multiply. So this is tricky. It's a lot of work. Once you figure it out, it gets easier and easier. But the first time is always going to be a little challenging. Okay, so I would recommend showing your work every single time we do this. So for example, finding each product, let's do this one as well. So remember, if it helps you, I would write it out, FOIL. Okay, so first terms are my x squared terms. So I have x squared. My next O stands for outer, so I have my outside terms. So I have negative 6x, right? Because I have positive x and a negative 6. Don't forget that this sign goes along with it as well. My inner terms are negative 3 and positive x, so that's minus 3x. And my last terms are going to be negative 3, negative 6, which can be positive 18. You add these up, you have x squared minus 9x plus 18 as your product. Okay, next example, same thing here. So if it helps you, write it out so that you know what to do. So first terms, I have 2x times 3x. So please be careful when you have this, right? You do 2 times 3, which is 6, and you have x times x, which is x squared, right? So 2x times 3x. Hopefully we remember from chapter 6, 6x squared. All right, your outer terms, so I did this. My outer terms are 2x and negative 5x, get negative 10x. Check. Inner terms is 1 plus 3x. Check. My last terms are 1 and negative 5, which is negative 5. I combine everything. I have 6x squared minus 7x minus 5, right? I could just combine these two terms right there. All right. So why don't you guys practice foiling it out on your own as well. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Be careful when you get to these fraction parts. So make sure you show your work always as we get to it as well. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to multiply a binomial and a trinomial. So as you can tell, it's a little different with this one, right? I have a binomial here. My first one is a bi, this is a tri. So it's a little different. However, this is similar to the distributive property. Okay, so when I do this, you're taking this term right here and you're distributing it to all of this. So if x, and if x squared minus 3x minus 2, and then I take this term, which is a positive 5, and I'm doing the same thing, distributing it to x squared minus 3x minus 2. So if I were to distribute, boom, 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 you have x times x squared, hopefully remember is x cubed, minus 3x squared minus 2x plus 5x squared minus 15x minus 10. I'm distributing this side as well. So now from here, you always have to write it in standard form, combine like terms. X cubed is my highest polynomial or monomial, negative 3x squared, positive 5x squared, positive 2x squared, negative 2x, negative 15x, again, negative 17x minus 10 is all by itself. So here is my polynomial simplified. Okay, so follow the steps. I would split the binomial apart and distribute it to my trinomial like everything, and then combine like terms at the end. So when you do that, why don't you guys work on these last two on your own, and that is it for today's lesson. If you have questions, feel free to ask me the next day.